G'day, it's Pete here and welcome to week 2, day 3 of this end play technique short course. Now today we're going to be looking at using end plays to improve your odds. Now we've shown some end plays where it's 100% and some where it's not, but what I really want to talk about today is using end plays in situations where you can already spot a line, but end plays can usually also be used to give you that slight extra edge. So even if you've found a decent line of play, you should always have this idea of, oh, this is a suit I want my opponents to play if possible. Or I want my opponents to be able to do this. Is there any way I can manipulate them to do this? So this all comes back to just having that overriding thought process of, if I let my opponents in, what can they do back to me? And it's a really important idea to like a fundamental line of thinking that you really have to be using when playing bridge, because you don't need to actually use an end play, but this sort of thinking is really useful anyway. So today we're going to look at some situations where you'll have some line of play anyway, but maybe you can spot an end play that might increase your chances, maybe bring it up to 100%. Or sometimes there's times where you don't know who you're going to throw in and it'll either give you an end play or it'll give you back just your normal finesse that you're going to take anyway. So it's easier done if you actually look at some examples, so we'll just jump straight in and see what we can do. So I'll provide one example and we'll work through it, and then in the next video there'll be some challenge hands that you can work through yourself as well. So on this one we're in 6 spades as south, and it goes all pass, and we get a diamond lead. Okay. So if you want to try and work it out, I'll just pause the video now and see what you think the best line of play on this hand actually is. But I'll just go through this and talk through this one. So looking in 6 spades, we've got no spade losers, we've got 2 heart losers, we've got no clubs, and we've got no diamond losers. Now this doesn't really look like there's any suit that we really want our opponents to play, so this one isn't really an obvious end play hand, and it just really looks like we're going to be making this contract if hearts are 3-2. If they're 4-1 we might be able to do something, but not so clear. So anyway, on this hand it looks like you're just hoping that hearts are 3-2 basically. If they're 4-1 you might be able to make in some situations, but what we actually want to do on this hand is we can actually play this hand as if it's an end play, eliminate clubs, diamonds and spades, and then if the opponents get in on hearts and say the singleton heart wins, then they can't even return a heart, so we get that extra chance. We can increase our odds by stripping out the hand such that if we let them win it, they either have to return a heart, and we now know hearts are 3-2, which is good, or we find out that they can't return one and we get a rough and discard. So on this hand, what you want to do is just win the opening lead and draw trumps. Okay, so we draw trumps in 2 rounds, and then we go about restricting the opponent's options as usual by eliminating the side suit. So we play a diamond, and we rough that, and then we eliminate clubs. So we play ace of clubs, club to the king, and eliminate clubs. So now all the side suits are dealt with. We've reduced the opponent's options here so that they can't play clubs or clubs, diamonds, or spades in this situation. So if we just play a low heart here and actually just duck it or play a low heart to the 9, if the next hand wins, if East wins it and they can return a heart, then hearts are probably 3-2. If East has a singleton heart, then there's nothing they can do. They win it and just play another suit and we get a rough and discard. But if East has 4 hearts, what can happen is they can win the heart, but they win with the queen, jack or 10, and then they have to return one of the queen or jack because otherwise our cheap heart wins, and then we can finesse it. Now I'll open up all the cards and show you what can actually happen, because it's not East who has it, it's actually West who has 4 hearts. So let's just backtrack and say that if West puts in a low one and we stick in the 9, we make straight away. So if West puts in the 10 of hearts, all we do is duck it. Okay? If hearts are 3-2, we have the rest of the tricks at this stage, so it's no problem. If East had a singleton, queen, jack or 10, they would have won it, and given us the rough and discard. Here, where West has Queen, Jack, 10, 4th, they now have to either return a high one or a low one. If they play low, our 6 wins. If they play the Queen, all we have to do is play second hand low. East shows out, we get to win it, and we actually set ourselves up for a finesse position here. So we turned this from hoping hearts was 3-2 to making on any heart layout at all. So we used the end play to increase our odds. Now, that's all I wanted to cover today. There's no, basically I wanted to show you that end plays might not be 100%. This one was. But basically, you can use end plays to increase your odds. So even if you find a good line of play, like hoping hearts are 3-2, having that little check to see, is there a better line with an end play? Can I restrict the opponent's options? And if so, what suits do I want to play? Anyway, thanks for watching, and check out the challenge hands. See ya.